John Rambo, a name that echoes through the annals of military history, a name that conjures images of a relentless warrior, a man who has seen the darkest corners of human conflict and emerged scarred but unbroken, a name synonymous with survival, resilience, and the brutal reality of war. Rambo's journey is one of grit and determination, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure and overcome the most harrowing of circumstances. A Green Beret, a son, a soldier forged in the fires of the Vietnam War. His story begins in the dense jungles of Southeast Asia, where every step could be his last, and every shadow could conceal a deadly threat. It was here, amidst the chaos and carnage, that Rambo honed his skills, becoming a master of survival and combat. He returned home decorated with honors, a testament to his bravery and skill. The medals he received were not just pieces of metal, they were symbols of the sacrifices he made, the lives he saved, and the battles he fought. Each one told a story of valor and heroism in the face of overwhelming odds. The Congressional Medal of Honor adorned his chest, a symbol of extraordinary courage under fire. This highest military decoration was awarded to him for acts of valor that went above and beyond the call of duty. It was a recognition of his unwavering commitment to his comrades and his country. Yet, beneath the surface of this decorated hero, deep scars remained. The horrors of war had left an indelible mark on his soul, a burden that he carried with him long after the battles had ended. The memories of fallen friends, the sounds of gunfire, and the sight of destruction haunted him, a constant reminder of the price of war. The war had left its mark, invisible to the naked eye, but ever present in Rambo's heart and mind. The 1,000-yard stare, a look of deep contemplation and sorrow, became a part of him. It was a silent testament to the internal battles he fought every day, battles that were just as fierce and relentless as those he faced on the battlefield. He was a soldier desperately searching for peace, a warrior haunted by the ghosts of a war he could not leave behind. The images of the past were etched into his memory, a constant reminder of the friends he lost and the innocence that was shattered. He sought solace in solitude, often reflecting on the days gone by, trying to make sense of the chaos that had consumed his life. Rambo's story is not just about the physical wounds of war, but the invisible ones that fester long after the guns have fallen silent. The dog tags he held were more than just identification, they were a connection to his past, a reminder of the brothers in arms who never made it home. The haunted expression on his face spoke volumes about the pain and loss he endured. It's about the struggle to reintegrate into a society that misunderstands its veterans, that fails to recognize the profound impact of combat on the human soul. The transition from soldier to civilian was fraught with challenges, as Rambo navigated a world that seemed alien and indifferent to his experiences. The bustling city streets, once a symbol of normalcy, now felt like a battleground of a different kind. It's a story about alienation, survival, and the desperate search for respect and understanding in a world that seems to have moved on. Rambo's journey is a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by those who serve, and the enduring struggle to find a place in a society that often forgets the true cost of freedom. His tale is one of resilience, a testament to the enduring human spirit, and a call to honor and support those who have given so much for their country. The picturesque town of Hope, Washington seemed an unlikely setting for John Rambo's return to civilian life. Nestled in the mountains, it was a place where time seemed to stand still, a stark contrast to the chaos and violence he had known in Vietnam. The town's serene beauty masked the underlying tensions that would soon surface. He arrived on foot, a lone figure with a duffel bag and a haunted look in his eyes. Each step he took was heavy with the weight of his past, the memories of battles fought and friends lost. The townspeople, going about their daily lives, barely noticed the solitary man who had just walked into their midst. He was searching for a comrade, a fellow soldier who had shared the horrors and brotherhood of the Vietnam War. This quest was not just about finding a friend, it was about finding a piece of himself that he had lost in the jungles of Southeast Asia. The bond between soldiers is forged in the crucible of combat, and Rambo hoped to rekindle that connection. But his quest for connection was met with disappointment. The man he sought had passed away, succumbing to the invisible wounds of war. This revelation hit Rambo hard, deepening the sense of isolation that had been his constant companion since returning home. The small town, with its close-knit community, only served to highlight his loneliness. The war had taken its toll, leaving Rambo with nothing but memories and a longing for a past he could never reclaim. The camaraderie, the sense of purpose, the adrenaline of combat, all were gone, replaced by a civilian life that felt alien and unwelcoming. He was a man out of time, struggling to find his place in a world that had moved on without him. His encounter with Sheriff Will Teasel, the town's stern and unwelcoming lawman, set the stage for the film's central conflict. Teasel, a man who valued order and control, saw Rambo as a threat to the peace and stability of his town. Their meeting was not just a clash of personalities but a collision of two very different worlds. Teasel, a man of authority and rigid principles, represented the society that Rambo struggled to fit into. He was the embodiment of the establishment, the rules and norms that Rambo found suffocating. To Teasel, Rambo was an outsider, a drifter who had no place in his orderly world. This rigid mindset would prove to be the catalyst for the ensuing drama. There was an immediate tension between the two men, a clash of worlds and ideologies. Rambo, with his rugged appearance and haunted eyes, was a stark contrast to the clean-cut, authoritative sheriff. Their confrontation was inevitable, a spark that would ignite the simmering tensions beneath the surface of this seemingly peaceful town. Teasel, suspicious of Rambo's long hair and rugged appearance, saw him as a drifter, a nuisance to be dealt with swiftly. He judged Rambo not by his actions but by his appearance, a mistake that would have dire consequences. In Teasel's eyes, Rambo was a problem to be removed, not a person to be understood. He made it clear that Rambo was not welcome in his town, driving him to the outskirts and warning him not to return. This act of rejection was more than just a physical removal. It was a symbolic expulsion from the society that Rambo had fought to protect. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of both men, revealing the deep scars left by war and the struggle for acceptance in a world that had changed beyond recognition. The bridge became a symbolic point of no return for Rambo, the place where his past collided with his present. Humiliated and angered by Teasel's treatment, Rambo refused to be intimidated. He stood his ground, asserting his right to be there, his mere presence a silent rebellion against the sheriff's authority. This act of defiance triggered a chain of events that would spiral out of control, transforming Rambo from a drifter into a hunted fugitive. Teasel and his deputies, blinded by their prejudice and misunderstanding of the man before them, arrested Rambo. They subjected him to a brutal and degrading search, their actions triggering flashbacks to his time as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. The physical and psychological abuse he endured at their hands, the cold metal of the razor scraping against his skin, ignited a primal instinct within him, a need to survive at all costs. Driven by instinct and fueled by the trauma of his past, Rambo fought back. His mind was a battlefield, haunted by memories of war and loss, yet it was these very memories that gave him the strength to persevere. Each step he took was a defiance against the ghosts that sought to drag him down. The sheriff's station was just another prison, another cage that sought to contain the indomitable spirit within him. He escaped from the oppressive confines of the sheriff's station, his flight a desperate bid for freedom. The cold night air hit his face as he burst through the doors, his heart pounding with the rhythm of survival. Every shadow seemed to whisper threats, every corner a potential ambush. But Rambo was no stranger to danger, he thrived in it. His senses were heightened, every sound, every movement around him was a potential threat that he had to navigate. Fleeing into the dense and unforgiving wilderness surrounding the town, Rambo was back in familiar territory. The forest was not just a hiding place, it was a sanctuary, a place where he could become one with the shadows. The trees whispered secrets of survival, the underbrush offered concealment, and the night cloaked him in anonymity. Here, he was not just a man on the run, he was a predator, a master of his environment. The skills that had kept him alive in the jungles of Vietnam became his lifeline once more. Every leaf, every branch, every sound was a tool, a weapon in his arsenal. He moved with the grace of a panther, silent and deadly, his mind calculating every possible outcome. The jungle had taught him to be patient, to wait for the perfect moment to strike. And now, those lessons were his salvation. He was a ghost, a phantom moving unseen through the undergrowth, his knowledge of the land transforming him into an apex predator. His camouflage was perfect, blending seamlessly with the foliage. He could hear the distant shouts of his pursuers, but they were no match for his cunning. He knew the land better than they ever could, and he used it to his advantage, setting traps and creating diversions to throw them off his trail. The rugged terrain became his ally, providing cover and concealment as he evaded his pursuers. The rocks and trees were his shields, the streams and rivers his pathways. He moved with the confidence of a man who knew he was in control. The forest was his domain, and he was its ruler. Every step he took was calculated, every movement precise. He was not just surviving, he was thriving. He turned the tools of survival into weapons, crafting booby traps and utilizing his environment to his advantage. Every branch, every vine, every rock was a potential weapon in his hands. He set traps with the precision of a master craftsman, each one designed to maim or kill. His mind was a whirlwind of strategies and tactics, each one more deadly than the last. He was not just a man on the run, he was a warrior, fighting for his life with every ounce of his being. Rambo's actions were not those of a madman but of a soldier fighting for his life, his every move dictated by a deep-seated instinct to survive. His training had taught him to be relentless, to never give up, no matter the odds. He was a survivor, a fighter, a man who would not be broken. His spirit was unyielding, his resolve unshakable. He was not just surviving, he was living, each breath a testament to his will to live. He was not seeking a fight, but he would not hesitate to defend himself against those who hunted him. His hands were weapons, his mind a fortress. He was prepared for anything, ready to face any challenge that came his way. The forest was his battleground and he was its champion. He would not be taken down easily, he would fight with every ounce of strength he had. For Rambo, surrender was not an option. He was a warrior, and he would fight to the very end.